Check podcasts.
The Bread and Butter Collective is a collection of hospitality professionals working together to help strengthen our industry to build strong culture, community, and sustainability.
I'm Kalen McNeil.
And I'm Sam Jones. And this is the Bread and Butter Podcast.
Welcome to the Bread and Butter Podcast. How are you, Sam?
I'm great, Kalen. How are you doing?
I'm doing well
It's
this
a
morning.
beautiful day.
It's been a beautiful week.
I know, right? And you're not sick anymore?
No, I'm back.
Yes.
Sick in the head, but not sick in the body.
I mean, some ailments, there's just no cure.
Yeah, no cure. They can get no help.
There's no cure for crazy.
Speaking of crazy, what happened to you this week?
People think coffee roasting is this romantic vision of coffee making.
Yeah.
It is until you lose power with a 450-degree oven that turns. And if you lose power, the drum,
So is the drum
thick,
hot? Does the power affect the heat? Like, will the drum eventually cool, or does the drum stay hot while the power's gone?
The drum gets heated up by a couple of burners.
Okay.
That don't take power.
Oh, so they're
That's
gas. Oh, gotcha.
But what does need power is the drum to keep it turning.
Yeah.
Because if you just heat it up from the bottom, it'll warp. And you're not going to get the tossing and turning of the beans. But if you lose power, like I lost power the other day, right in the middle of a batch, so the drum's full of beans, half cooked, and it's about 450 degrees.
Jesus.
And so it's really hot, and the power just goes out for the entire block. It's just gone. So what you have to do is you have to keep that drum turning, and there's a chain on the back of my coffee roaster.
I saw a video before the show. It doesn't look fun.
It's not fun. The thing weighs a ton. It's like half-inch thick cast iron drum, and with no air coming through because you don't have a fan. You
didn't have gloves. Why didn't you have gloves?
Well, because I couldn't fit my hands in the gloves for one thing, because my hands are big. Yeah. And even if I couldn't get my gloved hands in where I needed to grab the chain and pull the chain. An hour and 45 minutes I pulled that chain. My shoulders and my backs are still burning, and eight new blisters on my hands.
That's work, man.
It was an emergency situation.
And you stood up. You stand up. That's part of running your own business. You got to wear all the hats.
Yeah, I'm really glad it was me. Not that no one else could have done it, but they probably
wouldn't have done it. Yeah, they would have stopped. And they would have.
My coffee roaster would be all warped, and the axles would have gotten twisted in the heat. But it took that long for the drum to cool off to a safe temperature, which I guess is kind of romantic.
It is romantic. Do you know what else is romantic?
Farming.
Urban agriculture.
So romantic.
It is very romantic.
Nice
we do
segue.
these great. I always look for these little segues.
That was a good one.
That was a good one. Yeah, very good. So our guest today is Ash Whelan. Is it Whelan? Whelan? Mm-hmm. She's the farm manager for Fed Urban Agriculture. And you've been with them for several years, and before that was Topsoil, because Fed bought Topsoil. Talk to us about how you got into farming.
You bet. So my background is in regional and urban planning, or my bachelor degree is. Yeah. And so I was really kind of passionate about how to make cities more sustainable for people. And food systems really seem to be that opportunity to, find pathways to reconnect people with their food system, while also making cities more sustainable and bringing food closer to the people that consume it. So I'm originally from Saskatchewan, and after I finished my degree, I moved out west, just knowing that the growing season is so much longer, and that there are people growing almost year round out here. So apart from that, just really wanting to kind of live on the West Coast as well. So I moved out here and started taking some courses in growing food. I did my organic master gardening course at Royal Roads, and then I took some soil sciences classes online, and then was just kind of experimenting at home, learning how to grow food in my own little patch. And then eventually I found this local company, this local startup called Topsoil, who was growing food in these containers on underutilized land. And I thought that was a really kind of cool niche way to bring food into the urban environment. So
What kind of ties in the education background too with, sustainability and that type of thing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So I reached out, I cold called Chris, Chris Hildreth, who's the founder of Topsoil, and just said, hey, I'm really keen to get involved. And he happened to be, someone who's very entrepreneurial and ambitious, and had been running Topsoil for 2 or 3 years really successfully at that point, and building really amazing relationships with the restaurant industry. And was looking to kind of expand his operations, but also to have somebody who had more of an interest in growing the food, because he started this without any experience, just kind of this bold idea and blind ambition to grow food. And it worked really well.
That wasn't his background
Not at all,
right? Yeah.
And what kind of food was he growing at the time when it was just Chris doing it?
Yeah. Well, he actually started, it was about a 400 square foot rooftop in downtown Victoria that he started this project on. And it was adjacent to where Superflux is at the time. I'm not sure what the restaurant was called. It was before the Livet was there. But
yeah. I can't remember the restaurant that was there before it. It was the original one that was there when that building got built, I think.
Yeah. Anyway, he approached them and was like, would you offer this space for me to grow my food? And in exchange, everything that comes off of the plot will go into the restaurant. And I think they agreed on some cost sharing, and he grew so much food and the restaurant was so stoked on it that they were like, you should do more of this. And other restaurants were keen on it as well. And so he was given the opportunity to move on to a bigger chunk of land in Vic West and expand his operations. And so from there, just cascaded, more and more restaurants kind of came online, and we've been growing food for some of those restaurants ever since, which is almost a decade ago.
Yeah, that's crazy. It has been that long. Mm-hmm. Oh, and I guess during the COVID kind of was another bit of a shock, because then food security became a bit of an issue. We've now got trade wars where tariffs are being put on lettuce, and supply chains are being interrupted, and fuel costs are going up. And what is, so now Fed took over Topsoil, and now it's basically a social enterprise / charity. Right. So you guys do some fundraising for that. And what are your main sort of focuses now with the garden and Fed and what you're growing and that type of thing?
Yeah. So I'll just step back a minute to talk about Fed being a charity. Fed and Topsoil actually worked together for many years. Fed was utilizing the farm as sort of a baseline to distribute these grow bags to community for during the pandemic.
Yeah, that's right.
And
a grow bag, sorry?
Yeah, so these, we call them grow bags or smart pots, or they're basically geotextile bags that you can use to grow food in, which is kind of what our model is all about. And so Fed was... during the pandemic, they distributed thousands of these grow bags with soil and plants and seeds and additional resources to the community, to individuals.
The MyFed farm.
Exactly,
right.
MyFed farm. Yeah. So Fed was partnering with us to purchase the grow bags, or us being Topsoil at the time, to bring volunteers in to fill bags with soil, to plant, and then distribute that to communities, individual households. And so we built a relationship over the pandemic already. So it kind of felt like we were two organizations that were working closely. So when Topsoil and Fed kind of married each other, I like to say, because some of the staff came along with it, it felt like a really natural acquisition or transition. And so after that point, there were still some programs that continued on from Fed and from Topsoil. So from Fed being the MyFed Farm program, continuing to kind of distribute these little micro farms or little containers, if you will, and then other charitable projects as well. And then the topsoil to fed transition, we have that social enterprise at the farm, this really staple food asset, a food hub for growing food, educating the public, and just increasing local food production. So I think it's a really great way, a great marriage that happened, because it basically allowed the farm to open its doors to so many more people.
Right.
And just with the proximity of being at the head of the Galloping Goose Trail, right downtown, I think people are yearning for those kinds of experiences, to get their hands dirty, or just, be a part of something like that. So it's been awesome from my perspective to be, before it was kind of head down, grinding, growing as much food as possible. We were trying to prove that urban farming was profitable, which is, in hindsight, kind of a joke. But
Well, farming in general is so tough to make money.
So I almost completely burnt out and left the industry, if I'm being totally honest. But then, having that Fed come along and being able to focus more on like food access and education and just getting more people in there, that's been really beautiful and more sustaining for me as well.
I think that's a more rewarding proposition too. Like, I think it's just like the restaurant industry. Like, it's a great way to there's a lot of other benefits and enriching, attributes of owning a restaurant. But money isn't part of it. Like, you're not, generally speaking, you're not getting rich owning a restaurant. Generally speaking, you're not getting rich farming. But there's so many values that you get out of it and rewards you get out of it. And I think that's where the Fed and the topsoil sort of partnership and farming in general, because the access to that education piece is important. I think, also, what you guys provide to the community as far as attention on food and food security, and, tying those things in together. Because, you also provide some vegetables for some food banking type access, but that space. So how much food are you growing? Like, how much veg are you growing on that location? Yeah,
so we're the site itself is just under half an acre, and so each year we're kind of like putting more pots down, pushing the boundary as much as we can, so that we can grow more food. We are on contaminated land, which is also a benefit of this grow bag system, and it is owned by a developer. So there's a timeline there too, which we can get to in a minute. But in terms of like amount of food we're growing, it's close to about 8,000 pounds a year. Wow. But keep in mind, that's all like salad greens mostly, so which weigh nothing. Right?
Yeah, the light.
So
that's a lot of salad greens.
Yeah, it's a lot of salad greens. And we do grow more than salad greens, but that is kind of our staple crop and what we're known for.
Right now, this program is only in Victoria, right? Or has it moved on to other towns on the island?
There is some First Nations communities that have received a MyFed farm, kind of micro farm, if you will.
Oh, okay.
But those are sort of operated independently of us, which is great. Otherwise, we are maintaining some rooftop farms in Victoria and in Esquimalt as well.
Are there plans to go to Duncan, Nanaimo, or further up island at all to help those?
If there's
folks?
interest, if there's land, absolutely, for sure. And
it's a duplicatable program and system,
for sure. Yeah.
But again, it comes down to funding, and there is not a ton of profit in it. The reward and the benefit is like so amazing. And it's just detaching that idea of doing this enterprise and, removing the profit part of it. But there's such a community benefit to it. And then, speak to the environmental benefit too of this bag system and all of that. There's some other benefits that come from doing this type of farming too.
Yeah,
right?
if you're growing on contaminated land, there must be something interesting going on, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. It's a great use of space, and it can be moved around. We can, take that soil that we're fostering and move it onto the next spot. So in terms of like locating elsewhere, I think it really depends on getting a champion, somebody who's like, we need this here, and we have the local business to support it, and we have the interest from community. So we've been, Tofino's reached out to us multiple times to set something up similarly. Of course, the upfront investment of infrastructure is a big hurdle for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I think some people think because we're a charity, we can come and set these things up for free.
Yeah,
Which is a bit
But you're competing
ironic, but
for all the charitable dollars that are out there. There's
Totally.
so many good charities, so many good causes, and the pool of resources, especially when the economy kind of shifts, shrink. So you're naturally trying to raise more money, and I like the business piece. I know Big Will Burger's been involved with Fed, and we do a bunch of fundraising or use our resources to help Fed. So I think other businesses could kind of jump on that as well. There's some B Corps that are out there that, their mandate is to support community initiatives, and what better initiative than food and growing and, all of that stuff. So
totally.
I think that is the sort of barrier, is the funding piece, right? The always scraping together dollars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we are exploring other ways of like both generating revenue and increasing food production in our city through these sort of like exploring what kind of mandates people have or corporate social responsibility things that they're
Right.
looking to increase. And so Fed can be a really good way to come in like, do you have a rooftop that's being underutilized? And could we grow some food up there for your staff or for the surrounding community? And can that be kind of like built into your mandate or your giving back to community? So I think that's something we can start to explore a little bit more, because there is a lot of rooftops around that are kind of just stagnant, doing nothing.
Then there's also land that needs to be reclaimed too. So I think that piece is maybe an under recognized benefit. You look at these old gas stations and
I was thinking about old
that
gas
kind of stuff
station
that needs to
lots,
stay
yeah.
dormant for 10 years or whatever period. And then you add, you get the land, obviously it's not being utilized. So
Totally.
getting cheap land is important. And then if there's a environmental benefit to doing it, I think that's super exciting.
I didn't quite catch how growing on contaminated land is helping. Sorry, could you walk me through that?
Yeah, how we came to be growing on the contaminated land,
Yeah, and then how your action is improving or not
Yeah.
the contamination.
for sure. Well, in this case, we are on BOSA property. It was formerly Dockside Green. The history of the land that we're on, after it was displacing the Indigenous people, is that it was a pulp mill. So it was chemicals that were being treating lumber and poured into the waterways and subsequently the soil below. So that was going on for about 88 years.
Wow.
And eventually when they closed that down, that whole area was contaminated. So the city filled in, or whoever, I think it was the city, filled that land in with a bunch of like crushed rock and basically said this can't be developed
yeah.
for another 50 years or so.
Wow.
And so they sold that land for $1 to a developer who was willing to sit on it. And so, there's this big stretch of land that has been vacant along the inner harbor for quite some time, and that we're just seeing that slowly being developed. But we're at that last stage of development of this whole plan, really quite complex plan. But this developer is a sustainable developer. So I think they kind of see us as like some
It's part of their mission.
Yeah. And I think we're really benefiting from that. We've been there for almost 10 years, or this is our 10th year actually.
Oh, wow.
On that
Anniversary.
plot.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
So we'll have to throw a party or something.
Yeah, we didn't realize that. Time
Yeah.
just flies.
But it is still like at the end of the day, we're going to have to move, which is going to be a big job.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, we're growing organically. We're not certified, but we're using regenerative practices and organic inputs only. And so I think that we're rehabilitating the soil underneath in some way over time.
Right.
We don't have any like studies to...
It's kind of the nutrients that, as the water flows through the soil and the bags, and then kind of leach into the gravel and then work their way down. It's kind of regenerating the soil there.
I would think so.
Yeah.
And I wish in hindsight we had some testing done, kind of a before and after
Yeah,
analysis, because
sure.
I think it would have been really incredible to see just how our efforts might have remediated the land
Yeah.
in some way, because I think that's a real opportunity for our model as well, to come into areas that are struggling, the soil's struggling in some way, and be able to grow food like immediately productive. And then over time, as the nutrients, the biology is seeping through the containers, because they are semi-permeable, then that's slowly remediating, and then, flip the bags around, drop the soil, and then grow in the ground. I think that would be a really cool opportunity to explore with
Well,
this
I think
model.
there's a funding thing there too, because when you look at the tax dollars and holding the land and the environmental requirements of just leaving the land, dormant before you can grow on it, or before you can do anything, even develop it or dig it up or any of that. So, if you look at these landowners and trying to get some incentives and having some government input for tax breaks by doing this process, so that could help fund some of these startups, I think.
Totally.
I think that's so it's an interesting underutilized, because I know there was there was some talk and there is some attention on this type of remediation for land. It's just getting that sort of testing and then, the data so that you can support that argument. So I think that is something that, maybe could be a benefit in the future.
Yeah. Well, we've partnered with UVic's Eco Soil Lab, who are doing incredible work with evaluating the soil indicators. So like, what is the biology doing in the soil? And how is that, cycling nutrients and preventing us from putting the synthetics or other unnecessary inputs? Because I think a lot of us pump our soil with unnecessary things because we
Right.
think they'll help.
Yeah.
And I'm still learning about this. How can I dial in what I'm using so
Yeah.
that I'm not wasting, even if it is, organic and all that, if it's still seeping through into our waterway, that's no good. So it's been cool to learn how to work more with biology as your primary
Yeah.
tool, rather than, these nitrogen NPKs and all of that.
What would be an example of some material that you would add to the soil as opposed to some commercial product?
First and foremost, high quality compost,
Right.
Yeah.
which ideally is created in a way that fosters biology. And so, finding a local distributor that has this sort of soil health or soil food web in mind. Not everybody is kind of following that right now, but it's catching on.
On the southern Vancouver Island, what is the supply of compost and quality of compost here? Is that an issue? Is it readily available, or is that sort of a pinch point for you as far as providing that? Are you able to get the compost that you need?
So
quite
far,
easily?
it hasn't been too much of an issue. We get ours from Farm to Garden in the up in the peninsula there, and they're testing their soil, and it's very high quality. So highly recommend them to any farmer. But we're getting 8 yards here and there. We don't actually need that much because of the size, because of the bags that we're in, and so I haven't witnessed that personally, so I can't really speak to that. But there has been a couple of times where if you don't order, a month in advance, then there might not be any in production. But I think they've been scaling. Farm to Garden's been scaling up to meet that demand. So, yeah.
Now, is there fertilizer? How does fertilizers get involved in this whole process?
Well, we definitely do still use nitrogen-based fertilizer just to support. So we're using an OMRI certified, which is kind of like the organic certification for agricultural products. We're using a sustain, it's like a slow release nitrogen fertilizer. And then we use kelp as well as some microbes that I brew myself.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, they're kind of like the kombucha for soil.
Yeah.
It's a probiotic that is from from Japan, that you give heat and some sugar to, and then it multiplies and you inoculate your soil with it, and it just does wonders.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that a new thing, or is it well known?
I bet you it's really old, but coming back new again.
Yeah, I think it's been around since at least the 90s. I know it was used to treat wastewater in the past, like sewage, and neutralize it.
Yeah.
So it has this incredible ability to just to improve your compost. we used to use unfinished compost, not intentionally. It was just not the best quality, and we'd apply this effective microorganisms to the soil.
Interesting.
And it just like the plants would just explode.
Now,
So,
do you like the science part of that, or like for yourself personally when you're?
oh yeah, I love nerding out about soil. Yeah, I have a microscope and everything.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's such a science. Well, it's just the same thing with coffee or all these other types of trades. It's
Totally.
So much information.
I always make my own compost at home, and I've got a big long stretch where I empty out all my coffee grounds. I collect all my coffee grounds.
Great input.
All my coffee chaff, which is the husk of the coffee bean from
Great
the roaster.
fungal food. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, the worms love it. And I just keep turning that with like my own compost from my home
Nice.
and grass cuttings. But it's really heavily coffeed.
Mm-hmm.
Is that bad? Or is there something that I could be adding to it? Because I always think if you're adding that much coffee, you're making your compost high acid.
Yeah,
but,
acidic. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not sure if that's really true or not.
Well, I guess my question would be to you is at the end of the cycle, what does it look like? What does it smell like? And how is it affecting your plants?
I don't know how it's affecting my plants because it's the only thing I use. Okay. But they all grow. Mm-hmm. But it's full of worms.
That's good.
Full of worms, like just wall-to-wall worms, dark, rich. When you crumple it up, it compresses.
That sounds perfect to me, really.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm like, dude. Yeah, we're growing so much food, and it's rich and dark.
I try
and
really
worms.
hard out. I'm out in Machosen and my.
Was this like a sick brag? Like, were you like,
No,
I use this and I do this and I do that? I'm curious if it works.
I am curious because I don't know.
You just described a perfect garden.
Well, I always thought it was too heavily coffeed, and like I say, I don't know if there's a issue with that. Once it's composted, I think it changes it, and it's not just like tossing your coffee grounds into your household plants.
Yeah,
right? It's not the same thing. But anyway, I'm in Machosen. My dirt is really clay, like really hard clay,
Right.
and forever I've been trying to build on top of it, just because I can't go under my grass. Like, it doesn't work. So I'm building up. Is there something that I could be doing to help with my clay? Like adding sand or trying to like add anything to it?
I think what you're doing is great.
Inoculate it?
Organic matter.
Just on top?
Yeah.
And then it'll eventually get down into it? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, I think you're doing the right thing.
I try. I really do.
Well, the other thing I want to touch on a little bit, because we're also Big Will Foundation's involved with Peninsula Streams. So that whole area where you are, so we've got Big Will Burger up here. We're not a part of the ecosystem, but part of the food system.
You're the alpha dog.
But then we've got the Fed Garden. So then you've got, because you're on a bank, you've got, water and rainwater and all that stuff kind of going down into the gorge. So now they did a project that just south of Fed, where they've regenerated the shoreline and greatly improved the feeder fish. So I learned about all this from my friend Bud, who's part of the Peninsula Streams. But that whole ecosystem there. So we're talking about maybe doing a story or documentary about that whole section, and also talking a little bit about Fed and gardening and the leaching into the ground and regenerating the soil, which then spills into, creating nutrients into the waterways, which then build up the feeder fish, which then build up the fish stock, which is, that whole thing blows my mind. Like, and when you think about living in a city where I think people would be naturally thinking that it's just bad for the environment and all that stuff. And to see the significant regeneration of that feeder stock from putting that time and attention into the care of the shoreline it blew my mind. I was like, oh, wow, you put a little love into something. But then they were talking to me about Fed and how that could benefit that whole system too. Like just understanding how this type of gardening and more gardening and more urban agriculture could benefit these waterways as it relates to the fish stock, which, and you know, the grasses and the nutrients and all the other stuff that's required to kind of feed that ecosystem. I thought I was kind of really, I'm really fascinated about that.
That is very cool.
Yeah. So getting some of this data, I think, is important, and figuring that out, because I think it's a good story, you know, and it's a very, I don't know, I kind of geek out about that kind of stuff. So it's interesting. So when are we going to be able to get lettuce from you guys at Big World Burger? Where are we at with that?
Yeah. Hopefully in the next couple of weeks.
Sweet.
Yeah. It's been like a mild winter, but a cold spring.
Right.
So yeah, so we're
volume.
a few weeks behind in our production compared to usual years, but things are looking good.
Does that improve over the, like, because I'm imagining that, I don't know, I'm making this up, I have no data, but we do that on our show. Is it going to be like a hot summer? Like, will that?
That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, so will that adversely affect growing? Or
probably any extremes are not good for growing.
So you really want kind of moderate, kind of consistent moderate temperature?
Yeah.
With probably a lot of more rain than not rain?
Yeah, a little bit of rain in there is always a good thing.
Yeah.
But it's been interesting over the years. I feel like every year's been different. You know, last year felt like a Goldilocks summer to me. It was just kind of
like perfect.
Yeah, and not a lot of rain though.
Yeah.
But it seems like the island's getting less and less rain in the summertime than what I've heard it used to get.
Yeah, the climate, global warming kind of issues.
But yeah, we have experienced, you know, the polar blasts some winters that just totally killed everything, and heat waves now, which just put everything in stress mode, and then everything goes to seed really quickly. So yeah, so we just have to plan for that. And
like there's mitigation kind of strategies to kind of increase yield or deal with issues prior, like covering them up or adding more water or.
Yeah. I mean, for us, it's more just like more regular watering, maybe some shade cloth, and then just seeding as much as possible in our greenhouse and just being prepared to kind of quickly transition in those. Yeah,
turn it over. Would you change what you're growing depending on what the season's doing? So if it adversely affects lettuce, then you'd maybe do something else?
Yes and no. Like there's certain varieties that we'd probably minimize if it's really hot. And then, you know, there's some things like lettuce, purple varieties do better in the sun than green. Green's more prone to burning or pest damage in those kind of extremes. So we just kind of try our best to adjust to what's happening. But sometimes it just happens and you don't see it coming now. It's just like
it's just
boom,
overnight in the week.
35 degrees.
Yeah.
So
I guess that variance too. Like you can get 1 week where you're at 25, 30 degrees, and the next week you're at 17, 16. So it's kind of inexplicable. You know, you're like, well, because I felt like last week it felt really hot, and then now it kind of feels cold.
Yeah, it's
still sunny. Down. You know, you're like, what's changed? Like you would expect it to continue.
We're not quite there yet, I guess. It's only May.
No, I know, but if you have like, how does that affect you guys? Like, if you have like 2 week stretch of, you know, unseasonably warm weather or vice versa, cold weather, that's got to screw with your production and stuff, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah. It screws with every farmer's production, but they just have to be ready to turn things over.
Just make it adapt. Yeah.
Yep.
Just like
business owners. Running a business.
Yeah, you just got to adapt and you got to deal with the stuff that comes at you. What? So let's talk about the community supported agriculture program that you guys do, because you guys are launching that next week, right?
First week is
or
next
this week, which the show will be coming out the week you launch.
Right.
So talk to me about that and what that's all about, and you know what you supply, what you've the whole CSA.
Yeah, you bet. So we run a community-supported agriculture program, which is kind of like a subscription box program for veggies every week. And the idea there is that you're kind of purchasing a share of the farm. You're giving us a lump sum payment up front to secure 20 weeks of food. And so it's an incredible model for farmers because it supports them upfront in the season when we're not bringing in any revenues, but we've hired a bunch of staff and we're sowing seeds and doing all these things. And so it's super supportive for people, for people to contribute to. And then when the season starts popping off, then we're growing and distributing that food to individuals. So this year, it's starting next week, May 13th, and running until September 23rd. We do 2 different types of shares. Actually, we do 3. We do a small share, which has about 4 to 5 items in it. Great for one person who loves veggies or a couple who just wants to supplement their groceries. And then we do a large share, which has 8 to 10 items per week, and great for a family or 2 veggie lovers.
And are you growing it like all the produce, or are you reaching out to other farmers in the community to
Great
contribute?
question. Yeah. We do supplement our box with other farmers because, being effectively a salad greens farm, we don't want to just put that in the box, right? So making sure that's a staple in the box, but supplementing it with other farmers' stuff who don't have that direct access to the same market. So we're able to support other farms while also bringing in that diversity into the box. Yeah, exactly. So there's also a third option, which we're exploring, which is this workplace share. So or a bulk box. So if you're, an office or a workplace that wants to share food with your workers, then we're exploring that avenue too, just to, bring more local food directly to folks in the city.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So when people are ordering the boxes, how do they get them?
They pick them up from the farm, or we've actually introduced 2 other pickup locations this year. One of them is at Big Wheel Burger, Gateway Village, uptown.
Gateway Village.
Yeah. So that'll be Thursdays from 3:30 to 5:30. And then we've also introduced James Bay pickup location at Studio 106, Wednesdays from 3:30 to 5:30 as well. And then, of course, the farm will be a pickup location on Thursdays from 3 to 6. So we're not doing an on-site market this year, which I think will be news for some people who are used to coming and
just coming and picking up.
So we're exploring ways that we can still potentially have a mini market during that CSA pickup window. But for those who still want to get our stuff, the best way to do it is to buy a share of our CSA. So knowing that we're on the podcast this week and that it won't be live until the first week of our CSA, we're going to extend those sales until the week after next.
Oh, perfect. So is there a cap? Like, do you cut them off after? Like, how does that work? Like, if you don't start at the beginning, you can't jump in partway through?
Ideally not.
Yeah.
So May 20th, that'll be our first week for kind of late signups. But beyond that point, we won't be doing any additional sales.
Because I guess that's all a part of how you harvest and grow and plan.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It must be a capacity issue because you can't grow for everyone. not on 2 acres or whatever, right?
It's half an acre.
Half an acre. Oh my God.
Yeah, you have to come down, Sam, and check it out.
It's gorgeous down there. Gorgeous. And you can do special events and stuff too, perhaps down there if somebody wants to host their management team for a little learn, and you can even have some lunch down there. We've done that.
We've done long tables in the past. Long table dinners, which would be great to get space. Going again.
There's something about being around stuff growing, and in the middle of a city, it's just such an interesting, contrast, which is incredible. So to do with the CSAs again? So you've got 3 packages. It cuts off May 20th for ordering. Where are you guys at as far as your capacity? Like, are you undersold, oversold?
We're getting close. We're getting close to our goal. So with the small share, I forgot to mention the price. So it's $450 for the small for 20 weeks, and it's $800 for the large for 20 weeks. I think we have about 15 large shares left and 7 small.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah,
amazing. Awesome. Oh, you're going to sell out right away.
I'm hopeful that we
that's
will.
great.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
I think
Yeah.
as food is like increasing in price and with tariffs and just all this uncertainty, we're seeing more people who are kind of interested in supporting local and knowing they're going to get, they're locking in a price for their food for the summer.
Well, I think supporting just the infrastructure for local agriculture, and there's a few other other farms offer CSA type programs too. So
yeah, check out other farms too. Like there's lots of farms are doing it. So if you're not keen on the Fed's CSA,
or Fed so it sells out, which it looks like it will.
like it.
So hope it will.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Then you can look at other farms supporting local farms. We had was it Tesla or Tesca from the mustard seed. Wow, she was on our podcast.
Yeah. It was Tesca.
Tesca.
Yeah.
And she was talking about how much food we produce on the island historically. I think we were producing something like 40% of the agriculture that we're consuming on the island, say 50 years ago.
Yeah, in the 1960s.
Yeah,
I think.
and now we're at like 10% or 8% or 9%. And it's just such a shame. Obviously, development's part of that. There's some floodplain issues we have here as well. But there's enough farmland and supporting farmers and, adding, that extra dollars to their wallet really helps them continue doing it. And these people, like a lot of the farmers are passion. They're all about the passion and, they're again, not doing it for the money, but doing it for the passion of it. And it's such an important thing. Like if we look at the risk profile that we have now economically, what's going on in the world. And even when it comes to fertilizer and shortages and fuel shortages and all that kind of stuff, it's going to affect food supply. It's going to affect food cost. And why not support local and even planting local gardens. So, kind of as we wrap up, like I want to do a garden on my property. So how should I do that? What should be my steps? I am obviously I'm super passionate about the project, but I don't have a green thumb.
Yeah.
I've never had a specific interest in farming, but I really want to do my own garden.
I had a question that ties right into that,
Okay.
so maybe we can ask the same question from two different angles. What are 3 of your top crops that you would grow in Victoria if you were an at-home
That's
gardener?
a way better question than my question.
In terms of kind of your calorie density per square foot.
Great question.
Does that tie into what you were asking?
Bro,
Okay.
yeah.
Good.
That's why we're a good team.
So kale, the collards, they grow year round here.
Right.
So you kind of have to start loving them if you don't already, because they will just continue producing all year round. We have rows of kale that will harvest like tons. I don't want to say hundreds, but like all season for a year and a half, and it'll keep producing until it eventually goes to seed. So that's just one obvious one, I think, as well as chard, which again is not always everyone's favorite, but it's so
'Cause it's a little
nutrient.
bitter,
It's a little bit bitter, but when you cook it, it loses that bitterness, or saute it in garlic and butter, and it's so good for you.
Yeah.
And then I'm a big fan of arugula, so I would throw that in there too. It's a little bit more fickle if you're growing it in the heat. Radishes do great as well. I'm just focusing on things that we grow really well at Fed Urban Farm, but I'm sure there's others that would be exciting to throw in there. Tomatoes. Do you have a good sunny yard?
Yeah, the
Okay.
front part of our yard it gets sun like all day, like right till, because even at 4:00, it still gets sun in this one section. So we have
Amazing.
that. We have enough space. Now, would I use the bag system? Like, would you recommend something like that, or would I put together like a, wood frame
Raised bed or
raised
something.
bed structure?
Yeah, I guess it depends on what your goals are in the long term.
Like, I don't think I'd be, because we kind of have some clay and some raw, like I would do it above like raised bed, I guess
Yeah.
you'd call it, garden. So what would you think, like also for ease and convenience, because I'm lazy, so I want to make it easy for myself.
Yeah. Well, if you have the budget to do raised beds and you want it to be sort of this aesthetically beautiful thing in the long term, then raised beds are a great option. If you want something more temporary, if you don't own your house or your land, then the grow bag model could be nice because it's there and you can take it
And
with
it's portable.
you. It's portable. If you're not going to actively garden it yourself, then maybe you can.
Well, I'm going to try.
Are you going to try?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm going to try.
Yeah,
I mean, I've got the time.
There's also the great, like some organizations that will come and utilize your yard to grow food.
Interesting.
And make it part of their production and give you like a share of the crop in exchange for your yard, which is a really cool model.
Oh, interesting. Oh, that could actually be more of my speed.
Whenever you do get your little thing set up, and if you want plants, I got lots right now.
Oh, excellent.
Lots of peppers, tomatoes.
I love it. And we've got starters at Fed too, right?
You got
probably
you get
buy.
access to
I've
all
got some
kinds of things.
connections.
Yeah, you do.
I just don't want to kill it. But I do. I am. And when would it? Am I too late for the season? When would I start? Would I start next season? Would I?
It's not too late. No,
not too
I would
late?
say start small too.
Yeah.
You know, don't set
Like how
yourself up
big?
for failure by going too big too soon.
So big, huge.
I'll get my farmer hat with a straw, and I'll be like, the whole yard is covered, and everything will die. I'll be like, oh.
Yeah.
So where should be my first step? Because I'm thinking maybe there's other people that are listening that are like, hey, I kind of want to do my own garden too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if I'm going to do a raised bed, so I would call up a garden store and say, hey, can you sell me some raised bed? Would I get a contractor to build me a raised bed?
Yeah. I think
You know.
there's a few options. You could do it yourself,
Yeah.
learn how to do it yourself, go to Castle, get the stuff for it. You could reach out to an edible landscape company like Hatchet and Seed. They're doing some really beautiful stuff with growing food spaces and landscaping yards.
Oh, cool.
Or you could reach out to Fed for some grow bags and soil and plant starts, and we can.
That
hook you
might
up.
actually be the better way to start, because then I could just see how I do it. Am I doing it well? And I think even that sort of, having those nutrients go into the soil as well could regenerate some of my garden. Because we've done a bit of a renovation, so the yard right now is kind of chewed up. So I might not even be able to start this season because of that, actually, now that I think about it. But next year, I'm going to go next year.
It's never too late to start the garden.
It's true.
Well, I guess with the bag system, it's good because then it's portable, right? So then I can, if we need to put some back soil up once our sort of work is done, then I can start, and then I probably could go with this season. So maybe I will do the bag system.
Are these like really huge bags? Like what?
They're
what are we
15
talking
gallons
about?
is kind of our standard size.
Okay.
So
That's quite large.
yeah, they can be. We sort of start them 6 to 8 inches because that's what most veggies need in terms of depth. So we don't fill them entirely. We kind of halfway full, and then that leaves room to add amendments and compost over time.
And then when you do get the bag, is it like a closed bag and you open the bag and just plant in it, or you plant through the top of the bag while it's still closed?
It's open, so some of them have handles. Most of them now have handles, so you can take it, carry it over, fold it over, plant right in there.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
Oh.
So you put the soil, then you put the seeds, and then you compost or whatever.
Compost
water.
first.
Compost first.
You can add compost to, if you have a heavy feeder and you want to give it a nutrient boost once it's established, then you can add compost kind of.
And is it just a feel, or is there a rule of thumb on that? Like, I'm getting into the weeds a little bit on this, but I'll send you an email.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know if there's any one right way to do it. We usually go like a heaping shovel's worth of compost.
Right. And then just see what happens. Right. And if it's struggling a bit, you might add some more.
Exactly.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
There we go.
Easy.
I'm off.
Oh, I just want to go home now and go put my hands in
I
the
know.
dirt.
Well, I'm going to go buy some bags. Can I buy bags off Fed? Mm-hmm. Okay, sweet.
And would they
I
come
get starter kits.
empty, or would they come full if you were to go down?
Either way.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
If
So
you
I
wanted
can just
them.
pull my truck up and buy like 10 bags, starter bags. We could say, hey, put
Yep.
I'm going to do that.
Ooh, I should come down to some
I'm actually going to do that. Because that's also a great way to support Fed too, is it not?
Totally.
Right? Because it's a bit of a profit center for you guys. And I like that.
Me too.
There you go. And we just added some more revenue for Fed urban agriculture. Ash, thank you so much for being a part of our show. Super informative. I wanted to have you on here for a long time. I'm glad we did. For those listeners that want to support Fed urban agriculture, getfed.ca is the website. And you can Google Fed urban agriculture and find out all the information. Order your CSAs. We're going to sell out. If you want to support Fed, it's a charity. You can get a charity receipt. The money goes to support the farm, our education programs that we do, My Fed Farm programs, food sustainability, food security. It's a great cause. If you have a business and want to partner with Fed for different events, educational, team building, that's part of that as well. And you can make a donation in lieu of that. And we'll provide all those services as well. So
yeah, can I just add on?
Yes, greens as well for your restaurants.
Yeah. If you're a restaurant that's looking to bring in some greens to the fold weekly, then you can reach out to me, Ashley at getfed.ca, or you can go through our online form on our website. We also do have regular volunteering windows on Tuesdays from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. if you want to actually get into the farm, learn a bit about us, and get your hands dirty and working with the grow bag system. That's a great way to do it. And then we do have a Feeding Families campaign, which is part of our food access funding. So if you're keen to support families and food security, that's another way you can contribute and also get a charitable tax receipt.
I love that. Okay, get out there, get supporting Fed, get supporting food agriculture, get some veggies delivered, or not delivered, picked up now, right? Picked up. And awesome. Thanks, Ash.
Thank you, Bill.
It was sure
Appreciate
nice
you.
Yeah, it was a great conversation.
Thanks for having me.
Let's go grow.
Yeah,
Hey?
like I say.
Well, you're already growing. You show off talking about your compost and stuff.
All
is this
my
compost
free time
good?
is in my
I'm
garden.
unsure if my compost is good.
It only compresses ever so gently
Yeah,
when
and
you
it's so
squeeze
beautiful, and it's so dark, and there's a bunch of worms in there.
Weird. Worms.
I saw what you did there.
It's a worm wall.
It's a worm wall.
It's
See,
worm
I
wall.
saw what you did.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to come out to your property too.
Yeah,
so you've invited me
anytime,
out there.
all the time.
So I'm going to do that.
You can come help me turn my compost.
Yeah, then I can learn a little
Yeah,
bit.
I'll show
Maybe
you
I'll
my
start a
wall of
compost
worms.
myself.
You can
In fact,
have
I think I have a compost in my backyard.
If you go buy an empty bag from Fed and bring it out to the Jones compound, I'll fill it up for you.
Oh,
and then
sweet.
you got a head start.
I like it. Okay. Well, I'm going to organize that as well, too.
Yeah, I might have to hit you up for some coffee grounds, too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I always have lots of coffee grounds, tons of chaff, too.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. There we go. The partnerships are growing everywhere.
Yay.
Yay.
All right.
All right.
Kaylin,
Thanks, Sam.
enjoy the rest of your day, buddy.
I will.
Yeah, I
I'm
know
going
you
to get
will.
growing and have my green thumb green.
Get growing.
I don't get growing.
I'm going to get going and then growing. All right.
Remember to be kind.
I will. You be real nice.
Cheers, Sam.
Bye, Kaylin.
Bread and Butter Collective's membership includes the following local businesses: 2% Jazz, Bunny's Kitchen, Buzz Coffee House, Eagle-Ite, Big Wheel Burger, Blue Mountain Solutions, Bodega Tapas Wine Bar, Eva Schnitzel House, Farmsgate Foods and Catering, Victoria Chocolate and Company, Drum Roaster Coffee, Habit Coffee, Foo Asian Street Food, the Culinary Arts Program at Camosun, Cafe Fantastico, Fall Epi, Harold Street Brewworks, Hey Happy, House of Botang, Nikkei Ramen Ya, Jenny Marie's Cracker Company, La Pasta, La Rue Patisserie, Mocha House, Part and Parcel, Poco a Pinto Bar, Pizzeria Prima Strada, Keating Pizza, Roast, Table 9 Consulting, Sherwood Cafe and Bar, Sweets by Selena, The Collective Wine Bar and Kitchen, The Drake, Tapa Bar, The Nimble Bar Company, Ruth and Dean, The Whole Beast, The Wienery, Spoon's Diner, Truffles Inspired Catering, and Zambries.
To hear more from the Bread and Butter Collective, go to checknews.ca/podcasts on Check Plus, or find us on your favorite podcasting platform.